Hallo. Die Kämpfe sind vorbei, es folgt noch der Abspann. Den wollten wir euch natürlich nicht vorenthalten. Wir sind wieder auf dem Schiff. Das vertraute Schiff.
Wir laufen einmal rundum.
Mit vertrauten Personen. Und mit einigen geisterhaften Gestalten.
Ja.
Der Geist von Herrn Lora natürlich. Hallo du.
Look who finally graced us with their presence. I suppose some thanks are in order.
Ja, genau.
Trifft's wohl am ehesten.
Mhm.
What? No, you should be thanking me. Save the world from the great acorn.
Okay.
You're welcome, by the way.
Okay.
Honestly, workers, some creatures have no sense of perspective.
Ich würde sagen, wir bedanken uns mal.
Ja, klar.
A huge grin slowly spreads across the squirrel's small face.
Of course, had you not stopped this god king and his lackeys, there would have been very little left for me to save. So?
The cat moves forward, twisting around your legs and filling the air with the sound of dry, dusty purring.
Ah, quackers! Please, have a little decorum.
Ja. Kann er sich ein bisschen entspannen.
Ja,
Ist okay.
entspann dich. Wir können auch der Katze
Ja, können wir auch mal
Kind
machen,
kraulen.
stimmt.
Quercus arches his back, almost dislodging Solora, who just smiles.
This battle is won, my friend, but we still have a war to fight. We've undone the great acorn, but the Knights of Dre are still out there. They summoned the great acorn once. They will be able to summon it again. We have to destroy their order, once and for all. That is the future Quercus and I have ahead of us. We no longer need a shield, but we are very happy to have a friend.
Konntest ja 2 sagen.
Ja. Wollte ich auch gerade.
The honor is all mine. I pray we will not need to call on you, but I am grateful for the offer. I never thought I would be proud to have befriended a giant, but there is no one Ow! Crackers! There is no one that we would rather have walked this world with. I do not know what comes next for you, but you will always have a friend in the forest. Come, Quercus. We must... Oh, I think you have something in your eye, my friend.
The cat curls up and snuggles into his squirrel friend, who quietly sits and sniffs on the deck.
Also die Stimme ist ganz toll von dem Erzähler, finde ich.
Ja. So,
Hallo, Takin.
Takin.
Source of all, eh? Bold move, I'll grant you that. I didn't think anyone considered the little people anymore.
So.
I don't know yet. Perhaps peace will reign and all will be equal. Or perhaps you've bestowed great power on undeserving children and turned them loose on each other.
Ja,
Das weiß man nie.
das wird die Zukunft zeigen.
Time will tell, I'm sure.
Und, was machst du jetzt?
That is the question, isn't it? How does one top the greatest feat of necromancy ever conceived? I might have the answer to that. Tell me, have you ever heard of Gustavchen?
Gustavchen.
Gustavchen haben wir noch nie gehört.
No, of course you wouldn't. It's a written language, unreadable to most, but myself naturally. It comes from a mysterious race from another world. Beings that feed on minds.
Puh.
I intend to seek them out. This Gustavchen seems to guard portals to their realm. And once I've uncovered one, well, why settle for being the greatest mind in just one world when there's another for the taking?
Na ja, bitte. Wenn es dir Spaß macht. Hallo,
Gareth.
Gareth.
I'm buzzing. I don't know how else to describe it. But what you did, I want to say it was brave. Maybe it was, but it wasn't right.
Vielleicht nicht. Vielleicht doch.
Gareth is still. For a moment his mind wanders to memories of friends and enemies, of malady and magisters, of demons and divinity. He is then present once more, though hardly animated.
The people of Rivellon will call you their savior. The power is in them, in all of them. And there will come a time when they rebel, and the price will be high.
Wir werden das Volk schon leiten.
Ja.
Ich meine, wir müssen das ja positiv sehen.
A meaningless promise.
Man kann ja niemals irgendwie
Curse them with a single...
irgendwas garantieren.
You didn't reveal your altruism. You revealed your greed. Power will be shared among the evil and the good, the light and the dark, the sky and the earth. They will enjoy equal source light, yes, but they will not be equal.
Okay.
Das werden sie sowieso nie sein, also.
Nö. Es geht weiter wie immer.
Ja.
Und es war auch nicht anders
I
zu
find a
machen.
way to fit. I wasn't just content to lurk in Lucien's shadow. I was his shadow. Now I stand in the sun as my own man. I just don't know who that man is.
Dann wird's Zeit, dass du das rausfindest, ne?
So I find out, on my own away from the storm that surely comes. The God King is defeated, but the door to the void is open. Left there by the woman I once thought would be divine.
Tja. Das wollten wir aber nicht
Da können wir
sein.
dir leider nicht helfen, wenn du da enttäuscht bist.
Hallo, Sibylle.
A slight grin crosses the spirit's face. Whether her smile is sincere or not, you can't be sure.
Mehr sagt sie nicht.
Na gut.
Dann haben wir hier noch
Na, Fee.
Feen. Ja, das ist nur eine Balliste.
Fane is reading a volume of Cranley Hubert's famous encyclopedia. He leafs through it slowly, muttering to himself.
I see. Intriguing.
He glances up at you, big, empty eye sockets taking in every detail.
Well, well, there you are. Another fine specimen of your kind. A little leaner than when we first met, and a little less divine than you'd hoped, I imagine.
Das wäre schön geworden, wollten kein Gott sein.
Nö.
Genau.
Ja, genau.
As do I, it seems. Whatever that life might be.
Fane looks back down to the book, a bony finger running across the embossed leather cover.
It could have been different, you know?
Ja,
I could have saved them. I could have found a way.
eins, 4,
Ja.
5.
Ja, du kannst nehmen, was du willst. Also,
I could have done more. So, perhaps could they?
genau.
Genau.
Had they decided to live in peace with the mortals of Rivellon, maybe we could have saved them.
Ja, sie waren einfach zu rigoros.
Genau.
They made their choices, and I made mine.
Ja.
Wie du willst.
Ja,
Ja, aber das andere fällt mir auch nicht bei ein. Nimm
I
das.
know, I know. The cards were dealt, and my people got snake eyes.
Tja.
ja, stimmt.
Or something. I never took the time to learn how the average Rivellonian entertained themselves. Then again, you are no average Rivellonian. Not after this. So, what do you think you'll do now that we live in a world of minute divines?
Voller kleiner Göttlicher. Na gut, und? Ja, du kannst auch sagen, du wirst den Frieden wahren.
Ja. Wir werden es jedenfalls versuchen.
Fane nods grimly.
Power in the hands of madmen is dangerous. But power in the hands of well
Ja, da hast du auch nicht ganz unrecht.
empires have crumbled over less.
Ja, auch wieder wahr.
Ja.
Naja, auf jeden Fall wirst du weniger Zeit für deine Lektüre haben. Tut uns leid.
The skeleton hefts Hubert's dog-eared encyclopedia, its weight heavy in his hands.
I've been rereading this book, looking over your history once again, poring over every detail with a new perspective, and do you know what? It's shit.
Haben wir auch schon festgestellt.
Fane tosses the book over his shoulder. It flutters in the air as it sails over the ship's railing and disappears with a faint splash.
If you have spent your life staring at a thing, you can write about it with knowledge. You can write about it with love. But it is almost impossible to write about it with wonder. You creatures have spent your lives trudging about this world, and you've grown blind to its miracles.
Was meinst du?
Simply that to see the true beauty of a thing, sometimes you have to look at it as an outsider, as someone with fresh eyes, if you will. Take otters, for example. Energetic, waterproof cats, utterly beautiful creatures. Or octopuses. Did you know they're secretly octopuses? Octopi? Octopods.
Octopi, natürlich.
Regardless, the world is filled with absolutely incredible sights. And who better to catalogue them with the awe they deserve than someone seeing them for the first time?
Es gibt niemanden besseren als du.
Genau.
Do you know, there is the idea that nothing is ever truly created or destroyed. I suppose we are all Source, just in different forms. You being the cruder, less jewel-encrusted form, naturally.
Naturally. Ja, gut. Danke für das Kompliment.
Source too, although we didn't know it at the time. And our Source helped create you.
Ja.
In a way, I was walking alongside the best version of them the entire time. In you, I found a home better than the one I was pining for. Thank you, Godwin.
Na schön.
Ja.
Das war wenigstens mal nett.
Ja. Hier
wer
unten
ist hier?
steht noch ein Geist.
Ja, Geist von Lose.
Lose, die haben wir ja auch
Muße
nicht
smiles
mitgenommen.
broadly and casts her gaze over the ship's top deck. She sighs, relieved, and nods.
Ja, also die,
Ja.
die wir nicht mitgenommen haben, haben nicht viel zu sagen. Hallo Hahn.
I feel weird, like I've got ants crawling in my belly.
Aha.
There is a matter I must attend to, however. My payment for all the stuff I've done for you. That'll be...
Na
He
gut, dann.
taps his fingers and mouths silently while he counts, until he arrives at an acceptable figure.
1,300,000 dozen and 50 gold pieces. Now pay up.
Wir haben eine bessere Idee.
Ja.
Wir hauen dich. Nein, nein, nein.
What's that?
Wir brauchen eine Leibwache. Wie wär's mit dir?
Ja.
Han ponders your suggestion for all of a second.
You got it. Everybody better watch out. Han'll get you if you come too close. But you better believe the bill for that will be a doozy.
Ja. Das befürchten wir, aber es macht nichts.
Almira.
A world full of sorcerers. That's quite a thing. But don't worry, darling. You're still special to me.
Ja, was wirst du in Zukunft machen?
Ja.
Who knows? A nice cottage someplace quiet for Mahali and I. A roaring fire and a feather bed. Maybe.
Ja.
Keine schlechte Idee.
Ist ein Plan.
But a girl
Kein
needs
schlechter.
some fun, doesn't she?
Genau, kannst dir eintragen.
Reform my ways. How adorable. No, I'm afraid I cannot escape who I am and what I've done.
Her eyes flick down to your mouth. She smiles coyly, then slinks forward to kiss you.
Gehen wir ihr nach. Ist okay.
Ja.
Her mouth meets yours and devours you with...
Oh, das war jetzt...
Somewhere in the recesses of your mind, you think you hear her voice sigh, mine. But then the kiss ends.
Something to remember me by, darling.
Okay, ciao.
Noch jemand? Ja, klar.
Der rote
Ach,
Prinz.
der Prinz. Ja.
Unser kleiner
Aber
Freund.
Bestie hat man noch gar nicht.
Genau.
Mal gucken, wo der sich rumtreibt.
Wir haben auch noch mit
Well,
Malati noch nicht gesprochen.
dragged in. A godwoken. But what good is it to be godwoken when Source is now a free-for-all, and there is no divinity to be had?
Ja. Eigentlich 1:2.
Ich würde eigentlich 1 sagen, aber du kannst auch 2 sagen, wie du willst.
Ja.
Don't fool yourself. In the absence of a master will rise. King, God, there is still power to be had.
Na, das haben wir uns schon
As
gedacht.
long as there is power, there is conflict. Source for all, it is but the dream of an idiot.
Oh, danke.
His wrists in shackles.
Tja.
In that sense, I suppose I should look upon it all as an opportunity. People crave authority. They'll beg for a sorcerer king like me.
Ja.
Ja, wir würden jetzt 2 sagen.
Ja, ja.
And I give you the assurance of disappointment.
Tja,
Tja.
never mind.
Schon klar.
He sighs, which seems to ease his surly countenance.
But come. We've travelled too long by one another's side to end with an argument. We'll not part on bad terms, will we?
Natürlich nicht. Wo willst du denn hin? Nach Hause. Na, siehst du.
Ja.
Das ist eine gute
I have
Antwort.
dragons to raise. I need to teach them to be good boys and girls before they set the entire world on fire.
Gut.
Aber wir sollen die ganze Welt regieren. Danke.
There may be an accident or two along the way. Can't be helped, I'm afraid.
Ja.
I do so long to see my palace again. The Forbidden City. The sense of spices and incense. The sound of sitars in far-off rooms. To sit all day in perfumed shade and watch the white of the marble change with the journey of the sun. But above all, I long to be with Sadher. Long to finally have the time to love.
Wir wünschen Ihnen eine strahlende Zukunft.
Doch.
Und nicht so langweilig.
Before you go, remember how when we first met, I took you by the jaw to inspect your teeth?
Das hätten wir ja schon beinahe vergessen. Warum hast du das gemacht? 1.
Not something one forgets in a hurry.
Ja.
Now, if you recall, as per your own testimony, you can groom, but alas, you've no culinary skills whatsoever, and you lack a sense of fashion. Far from ideal. Still, I'm nothing if not a tolerant man who believes in individual growth. I'm sure the journey taught you much.
Eine Sklavin zu werden.
But I denied you before the opportunity to become my slave.
Oh, ich glaube, darauf können wir verzichten. Oder?
Ja,
What say you?
allerdings.
Ja, du verschüttelst den Kopf. Ja, das ist
Ja, genau.
Taken quite by surprise, he staggers back, blood dripping down his nostrils.
Oh, du Armer. So
Das war
sensibel.
etwas heftiger wie gewollt, hä?
I take that as a no then. Fair enough. But next time, please.
Ja, ja, schon gut.
Words.
Ja, gut. Wir werden es versuchen.
Okay. Gut, das ist noch Maladi. Dann müssen wir wohl noch unter Decke mal Bestie finden wollen, oder?
Mal sehen. Oder er ist oben auf der
Malady
Aussichtsplattform.
stands
Kann auch
tall
sein.
and proud, sunlight sparkling off her mask. From here she looks almost angelic.
Well, here we are again. You, me, and the ship I've saved from ruin for your personal benefit. I'd say you owe me, but why state the obvious? Get an eyeful. I expect it's the last we'll see of each other for some time. I've a lot of planning to do. Now that there's not to be a new divinity.
Find's dir auch nicht gut, hä?
She drums her fingers testily on her
Oh, ja.
crossed arms.
Ja.
All that work, all that effort, tossed into the gutter like a malformed child.
Ja.
You say that now. Let's see how you feel when you realize the true implication of a world filled with sorcerers. Never mind. I'll find another way. I always...
Sie muss den Mist dann wieder zusammenkehren, oder wie? Kehren.
Ja.
Die Arme.
Fingers the mask covering her face. For a moment, it seems as though she's about to remove it. But instead, she places a hand on your shoulder.
We've come a long way together. I did my best by you all the way. Sacrificed much. And I'd have given even more to see you fulfill your destiny.
She looks you up and down.
I guess this will have to do. Take a moment, why don't you? Relax. Enjoy. I certainly plan to do the same. Oh, I don't know, around and about. Treat myself to some mead, a lover or 300. So you've earned it.
Oh ja. Könnte man so sagen.
Perhaps our paths will cross again. Perhaps not. Until we find out.
So, ja, wo ist? Müssen wir mal Bestien suchen.
Ja.
Wir können ja mal
Ich glaube,
gucken,
das
ob
müssen wir jetzt nicht mehr
Nein,
mitnehmen.
wirklich.
Und die Fische auch nicht. Guckt mal, wo kriegt die sich denn? Da ist er doch.
Wo? Ach, da oben ist er. Ja, gut. Hallo, Bestie. Na, er ist ja schließlich auch Captain. Ja. Da musst du hinlaufen. Ich glaube nicht, dass er da so...
Ja, ja, ich habe sie schon losgeschickt.
Ah, das hast du schon gemacht. Du bist ja
Ich bin nur mit der
Look,
Kamera
admit,
nicht.
I'm all about returning the power to the people, but I never could have seen this one coming.
Ja.
He eyes you slyly, but consents to one final tale.
The beast of the sea rose triumphant, guiding his fellow Godwoken from an island prison to a final hurrah.
Ja, wiederhergestellt.
Vengeance. Now, inexplicably whole due to magic a beast could never understand, and returned to his homeland. Then began the process of rebuilding, restoring trust, handing out hope, serving his people. Huh. Guess that one doesn't really end with a bang. But that's alright. You know, it's a
Ja, dann kannst du mal fragen, ob er nicht auf eine weitere Reise begeben will. Nur du und er? Wir können ja mal fragen.
Beast pulls your hand to his hairy cheek, and you caress it until he giggles and cringes from the tickle.
You've meant so much. Too much. I may not be divine, but I still resolve to serve the kingdom, serve my people. And I can't belong to you while I belong to them.
Das stimmt.
Still might be a day for promises between us. It's just not today.
Na, dann machen wir uns mal auf den Weg. So, ich würde sagen, das waren alle, mit denen wir jetzt sprechen mussten. Oder gibt es noch jemanden?
Das sind wir wohl durch.
Ja gut, okay, dann aber. Wo musst du jetzt hin? Oder wo gehst du jetzt
Ja,
hin?
mit dem Schiff müssen wir noch sprechen.
Ach, wir müssen mit dem
Nehme
Schiff
ich
sprechen.
doch stark an.
Na gut, dann tun wir das.
It gives me almost as much pleasure to speak to you as it does to be whole again.
Ja, das freut uns. Mhm.
Ja.
I will always be an ally to those that carry swords, to those whose blood is of the heroes of old. And so, as always, I am at the ready.
Gut.
Ja.
Es
Na
wird
gut.
Zeit.
You look out to the endless beyond. The sun's light plays upon the waves, just as it always did. The sails flutter in the wind, just as they always will. And yet, something is different. you are different. And with a start, you realize where you must go next. You speak the command to the Lady Vengeance, and another chapter begins. The world was at peace, at least for now. Few were as prepared for the new world as the lizardkin of the ancient empire. With power spread equally throughout the world, the advantage lay with those who knew how to steal it.
Oh ja,
And at this, the lizards excelled. Justinia returns to her throne. Under her rule, the Dwarven kingdom prospered, until 2 years later, a jealous lover stabbed her in the heart with a mutton fork.
Oh.
With their power returned, the elves reclaimed their lands from the Death Fog and began to rebuild. Soon they would split as two factions sought power, one to bring back the trees, the other to bring back the scions. A dwarven joke did the rounds. It ends with the punchline, "So Lucian dropped the Death Fog on them again."
Oh weia.
And in a dark forest on the far side of a desert, well beyond the high seas, the Black Ring came together once more. The island of Fort Joy, the old redoute of the Source King Brachus Rex, was turned over to the people of Driftwood to use as they wished. They turned it into a holiday resort.
Gute Idee.
Reaper's Coast prospered. The fisheries returned, and the fertile farmlands produced the greatest harvests the surviving farmers had ever seen. Blood Moon Island became particularly fecund, its soil producing the greatest crops. A particularly crimson-fleshed orange grown on the island became a delicacy across half the world.
Oh weia. Ich glaube, die würde ich nicht essen wollen.
Tja.
The black pits took fire. The oil there burns still. Driftwood became a centre of industry, trade, and transport. Lohar the dwarf became mayor. His time in office was cut short by an unfortunate wound that spontaneously appeared on his neck.
Oh.
Nicht besonders verwunderlich.
Your lizard lover from the Black Bull Tavern finally returned to the ancient lizard empire, there to found the newest and most popular of all the houses, the House of Love.
So.
After a long and harrowing journey, Lovric the waiter arrived in Sicil, where he opened a tavern. The meaty stew became famed almost as much for its food as it was for its greasy, abusive owner. Lagan left his over-demanding wife and began a relationship with a local bard. In the spirit of loving generosity, he returned the ring to his now ex-wife. In a fit of rage, she threw it into the sea. The nameless isle had vanished. Although only open water remained, by instinct ships would steer clear. None of the captains could articulate why. Millennia later, adventurers would come in search of the legendary divine city of Arx and the crypt of the great Lucian. None would pass the path of blood.
Uh-oh.
Sir Gareth thanked the surviving seekers for their service and gave them their freedom. Disillusioned with the rising chaos, he set out alone to find a new purpose. He would never stop seeking.
Tja, dafür sind die Ritter da. Sie
Young
immer so.
Hand went into the theatre and became one of the realm's most popular actors. Almira and Mihaly settled in an abandoned homestead. The locals liked and respected Almira. She never wanted for help, and deals always fell to her favor. Outsiders were often suspicious, but no local would speak against her. With no new divine, Malady found herself in a predicament. She had an important problem to solve, but no ally strong enough to call upon, and so her search continued. Having performed the greatest act of necromancy in history, Tarquin found the new world unchallenging. He became obsessed with rumors of another plane of existence. One day he vanished and was never seen again. With the source released to the world, Ahu the wizard spent more and more time as a cat. One day he decided he would not change back. With Amadia silent, the priestess Gratiana left the swamps and re-entered the world. With more undead than ever before, she founded an abbey in the Dragonspine Mountains, offering them shelter from hatred and fear. Jehan the demon hunter found himself at a loose end, so he opened a museum of demonic artifacts. After it burned down, with Jehan inside, witnesses claimed that the flames were the color of blood. As the forests grew anew and the elves were equals at last, Sahala shared elven knowledge of source with the world. But some elves disagreed and plotted against her. Chief amongst her opponents was Tova, Sahala's own mother. The Beast of the Sea returned to the Dwarven Kingdom, this time as a lawmaker. After a very public blunder, Marcus eschewed political power and returned to the sea. The Beast and the Lady Vengeance sail on. As Source flooded Rivellon, Fane set out to record everything he could of this new world. As he travelled, he kept a socket peeled for signs of the Eternals, hoping to find the wife he'd lost. He's still looking. The Red Prince came home a hero. With Sada, he had more dragons. Soon, Prince became Emperor, one who would not use his dragons for conquest. His realm knew peace, and the world did not burn. And then there was you. You returned to the world a sorcerer among many. Your future was yours to decide. Did you accept your new status with humility? Only you know the truth. Only you know if you atone for your sins.
Gut, das war's dann wohl, ne?
Ja.
Okay, also das Spiel hat schon Spaß gemacht, obwohl ich
Ja.
fand, dass es manchmal ganz schön übertrieben blutig war. Es gab sehr viel Blut. Irgendwann hat man dann auch keine Lust mehr auf
sehr
das
blutig.
Und ich bin auch noch so mit Fantasie begabt, dass ich das regelrecht rieche, ja. Dieser metallische Geruch des Blutes.
Ja, ich habe es ganz gern gespielt, aber der letzte Kampf, der hat mich doch etwas genervt. Das war doch ein bisschen sehr heftig.
Ja, der war sehr viel heftiger als die Kämpfe vorher. Ne?
Ja, wir kamen ja eigentlich immer ganz gut durch.
Also wir haben auf leicht gespielt, nicht auf schwer.
Ja, klar.
Sonst hätten wir wahrscheinlich auch mehr Schwierigkeiten gehabt mit
Ja,
den
ja,
Kämpfen.
wir sind natürlich auch nicht die besonders gern kämpfen. Wir sind doch mehr an den Geschichten interessiert, als an ständig zu kämpfen.
Meine Geschichten waren ganz interessant, das muss ich schon sagen. Ja.
Doch.
Also
Hat
das
doch
sage ich
Spaß
gerne.
gemacht.
Gut, waren ja wieder viele Leute. Wie immer, wir lassen uns einfach durchlaufen. Verabschieden wir uns jetzt.
Ja, genau.
Danke fürs Zuschauen. Ja.
Ja,
Bis zum nächsten
vielen Dank.
Mal. Ciao.
Und hoffentlich beim nächsten Mal wieder. Bis dann. Tschüss.